Hey guys, I was just wondering if maybe we could get some freedom because China's kind of crazy.
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
What the actual fuck has Blizzard been up to? This is the most hot water I've ever seen Blizzard in my entire goddamn life. Which kind of sucks, doesn't it? Blizzard has been such a beacon of hope for the gaming community. They were untouchable. They could do no wrong. Even if they did do some stuff that you could frown upon in the past. But this isn't really Blizzard, is it? This is Activision Blizzard, and Activision Blizzard is insane. This is the same Activision Blizzard that popularized the slot machine mechanics in games today, and boy has that been quite the malignant tumor. Blizzard was bought out by Activision in 2008, and since that point they have seemed way more fragile. Back in 2010, they wanted to change the ID rules for their forums where your forum name had to be your real name. Aside from the obvious privacy concerns you could raise with such a weird, boneheaded move, it was a small blemish on Blizzard's reputation. Hell, just yesterday they shot themselves in the foot again by forcing a gay World of Warcraft guild to change their name because of user complaints. The Gay Boys Guild was henceforth changed to Guild Puh! Because a couple of idiots in the game decided to abuse Blizzard's report function to flag the guild's name as inappropriate. A system I'm sure is just automated and not actively looked after by any real human beings. Actually, scratch that, I know it's automated because after it was changed back via contacting customer service, they informed the guild members it will probably happen again and that there's no real way to stop it. Which pretty much just tells you it's automated and not actually looked after by any real human beings. A member of the Gay Boys named Emil Jelani, and I hope I'm saying that right, told reporters that giving into the demands of awful people only means that you are siding with them as a company. And god damn if that isn't the most perfect segue into the topic of this video. Before delving into this topic further, we need to set up some context. Hong Kong has been embroiled in a major scandal that started in June and has continued to this very point as I am making this video now. Hong Kong is a separate entity from China and has freedom to govern itself detached from the mainland. There was a proposal to allow extradition to China that was introduced within Hong Kong. Something that would be very bad for the people of Hong Kong since China has a long and illustrious history of wholesale slaughter and carnage. If you're interested in the full story, and because I cannot possibly cover it all in its totality in this video, you can peruse the web, but I assure you it's horrifying. A story fraught with internment camps, human rights abuses, forced organ harvesting, etc., etc., etc. Recently, there was a Hearthstone competition that was hosted by Activision Blizzard. One of the players, delightfully nicknamed Chung, used that platform to air a message in support of the protesters in Hong Kong. In the stream of the event, Chung wore a face mask and said the words, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age." Which, considering the hellscape China has been for progressives and democratic ideas, I think we can all mostly agree that Chung was correct in his support for Hong Kong. Blizzard thought the best course of action after Blitzchung's impromptu declaration was to ban him from Grandmasters and take away all his prize money, even going so far as to blacklist all the casters who aired Blitzchung's statements of revolution. Because in the world of corporations, democracy and humanity matter far, far less than money. Blizzard obviously knew this would have an impact on their pocketbooks and decided dictator China was a better ally than the people they would be pissing off by acting so heavy-handed. Of course, their talking points followed the usual blueprint that every corporation uses to clean up messes. In a statement addressing the controversy, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack said, "While Blizzard tries to uphold company values that focus on diversity and global thinking, it also wants to keep esports events focused on games. Blitzchung broke a rule, but Brack insists that the specific words he used were not the issue. But wait, there's more. Moving forward, we will continue to apply tournament rules to ensure our official broadcasts remain focused on the game and are not a platform for divisive social or political views." Wow, okay, so apparently standing up for human rights is a divisive social and political view. That's... wow. It's a bizarrely neutral political statement made even more strange when you account for the types of games Blizzard makes. Games full of fights for freedom and equality, especially when they've championed these types of messages in their social media in the past. Activision Blizzard wants you to believe this has nothing to do with money, yet they didn't take income into account when they made pro-LGBT statements. When speaking on matters of civil rights, not all speech is equal, especially when human rights are considered. In terms of democracy versus fascism, it's hard to find real good-natured reasons to support China in this ongoing discussion, which makes Activision Blizzard's decision to stand behind such blatant false equivalency as a shield so troubling. J. Allen Brack even went out of his way to say since Blitzchung didn't break any rules while playing the actual game, he'll get to collect his prize money after all. Brack is literally in one breath saying Blitzchung broke the rules and is thus subject to disciplinary action, and in the next breath saying, well, actually, no, he didn't break the rules, but he's still suspended because reasons. I'll concede that handing over that prize money and reducing his suspension is a good step in the right direction, but from here on out, till the end of time, how can anything Blizzard say or do not be viewed as some kind of hollow gesture? For some real quick math, about 400 million Chinese citizens play games online, and half of those regularly watch esports. Basically, what I'm trying to point out here is Activision Blizzard is lying through its goddamn teeth when it says it's not putting profits above human rights. Activision Blizzard knows full well why it's behaving the way it is. In fact, it's why plenty of companies get right along Activision Blizzard and lick that fascist boot. It just happens to be a coincidence that right now Activision Blizzard has stepped up to the podium and become the poster child for capitalistic bootlicking. Apple removed Taiwanese flags from their messaging function to make sure they didn't ruffle any Chinese feathers. The NBA was all but giddy to sideline free speech in favor of China and some money. Google had plans to build a censored search engine for the Chinese government to further sideline internet free speech. Riot Games has outright vocalized their absolute contempt for any kind of political speech during on-air broadcast. Which I guess makes some sort of sense when you realize that Riot Games is owned by a Chinese multinational conglomerate holding company affectionately known as fucking Tencent. Speaking of fucking Tencent, do you know which other company they also have holdings in? If you guessed Activision Blizzard, then you're one smart cookie. But then you realize Activision Blizzard only got a 12% cut of the Asian Pacific market, and then you just get sad. Activision Blizzard was willing to throw this big of a hissy fit for 12% of its earnings. Look, at the end of the day, this is incredibly troubling. While more and more corporate interests entrench themselves alongside despots and authoritarians, the age of caring for their consumers fades away. At Blizzard's campus in Irvine, California, there is a beautiful orc statue. This statue is surrounded by a compass with 8 points, each of which is emblazoned with a guiding tenet of the company. One of the compass points ironically says, "Every voice matters." But it's very clear Blitzchung's voice didn't matter, the voice of people who buy from Blizzard don't matter, and the voice of the people of Hong Kong didn't matter. Blizzard saw this as being a slight hit to their pocketbooks and decided the company ideals weren't important anymore. Hilariously enough, another compass point says learn and grow, something I think Blizzard should seriously take to heart at this point. Blizzard really needs to rediscover its humanity, because ultimately, they're more than just income. And also, Activision fucking sucks.